I'm Andrew Mwesigwa, and basically I'm just going to be giving you an appetizer. Tell your neighbor an appetizer. Okay? Many of you might, be wondering what is the library telling us? And I just want to make a statement before I proceed that people tend to have their own impressions about libraries, but there is one problem we have in our society that is called the reading culture. Okay? The reading culture is one of the biggest problems we find, and yet we are supposed to be students for life. How many of you know that we are supposed to be students for life? Okay, there is always something you have to learn. And we are in an era where there is too much information. A lot of information is being generated on a daily or constant basis. But finding that relevant information, I think, is what you need as an individual at different levels of your life. So basically what I'm going to take you through is what your life can offer you to walk the journey with you. Okay? Librarians are here to support your academic journey. If I asked you how many of you have libraries at home, how many of you have libraries? Okay, you have a bookshelf at home, an organized bookshelf. You see the hands are few. That tells you so much about your reading culture. Alright? Your reading culture. I always tell my children that organize your table, because if your desk where you're doing your study from is disorganized, even your study will be what? Disorganized. So I want to challenge you, go and create a bookshelf. Even if it's small as this, you have a few books, you know how to find them. Alright? So anyway, what, as librarians or as the library, what can we offer you in your academic journey? Okay? Your library is your partner on the academic journey, like I've been saying. How many of you have found yourselves in that kind of a situation where you're like, I don't know what is going on, it's just, I've been given a coursework, I've been given an assignment, where do I begin from? I'm doing my research project and there's just too much, okay? I don't know where to begin from, I don't know where to start from, which books to consult, which journals, where do I even find them, okay? So many a times we find ourselves in that picture, okay? You can't find the relevant literature, okay, for the research that you are conducting, or for the study, or for the coursework assignment that you have, okay? And the first thing they'll tell you is there's Google. How many of you have heard of Google? I'm sure you all have Google on your phones, okay? But if you put in a search in Google, you'll have too much, right? Millions of results. So your library is here to support you to find the relevant sources. Okay? To find relevant sources. That is very, very important. So one of the things that we teach is sources of information. I can add and say sources of relevant information, because there's too much information. But what we'll teach you as your library, okay, is sources of relevant what? Information. When do I consult a different kind of what? Source. Alright? When do I use an encyclopedia? Are you even aware the library has encyclopedia? Physical. They are there in the main library. But there are also online resources. So when do I consult a dictionary? When do I consult a journal? When do I use a textbook? This is one of the things that we can offer you, we can teach you. And then you need to have a search strategy. Okay? Like I was saying, you just go to Google or any source, okay, any database that probably you have, an idea about, and then you just search irrelevantly. You're going to have thousands of irrelevant results. How many of you have experienced that? You search and there's just too much. You don't know which one is relevant for you. Okay? So when you go to Google Scholar, or any database, you're going to find just too much information. So you need what we call a search strategy. Tell your neighbor, search strategy. Okay. And then one of the other thing we will take you through is searching specific databases. Now, I'm just telling you the things that we can offer. We are not going to do them today, just bits of them today because of the little time. So we'll give you a form and you book out time to be trained in different areas. How many of you have a computer? How many of you have seen this kind of a picture on your computer? Your desktop has all this. You're laughing because you always do it. You download things and you just put where? On the desktop. Everything desktop. Everything desktop. So after a while, your desktop is like that. And you can hardly find a thing. You know? So one of the things we will train you is not to be like that. Okay? You know? Or how many of you have lost a file on the computer? You had something downloaded and you can't find it. Say, but I saved it. I remember I saved it. How many of you have experienced that? You know? Or you're in the middle of, doing something and power went off. I said, I lost my work. Those are the scenarios we go through as users of information. So there is a session, okay, that I had a friend of mine who traveled to South Africa. He was doing his master's in South Africa. And then he lost his master's work, his thesis. And he was at the very end, going to submit it. And he lost it. So he had to come back. When he came back to Uganda to see his family, he had to go back to zero and repeat the work. What a pain, isn't it? You go through all the rigor, you do it, and then you lose it. So we have a session, okay? We call it managing multiple electronic files. It's one of the sessions that you can book out, and we take you through the different ways, okay? You can manage information. You can manage your electronic files. You download things. You need to be able to store them. You need to be able to, to manage them. So managing files and folders, processing, word processing, you do your project report and it requires a table of what? Content. And then you begin typing it manually. And then each time you change the pages, you have to come back to the table of what? Content and change the what? The page number, But one of the things we will teach you is to do this electronic, automated table of content, table of figures, and so on and so forth. Okay? You conduct research, and of course, you do questionnaire if it's one of the methods for your data collection. And then, you need tools that you can use to design an online questionnaire, okay? And send it out to your respondents or key informants. So it's important that we are also, made aware, and CESCA is about how to create those online questionnaires using Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, and others. So that's also another session that we take you through using Google Spreadsheets, using Google Docs to process your thesis or your reports. All right. You generate data. When you collect data, you can analyze it using Google Spreadsheets. So we can show you that, and also storing your files. I just say you lose files, but you need to have backups. Okay? You need to have backups. So those are some of the things we will take you through. We'll take you through the Google Drive and Dropbox sessions. And then we use other people's information, isn't it? You do literature review, isn't it? You do literature review, and or you're given a coursework assignment if you're an undergrad, and you're told to go and consult books in the library or online, e-books. But using other people's work, you need to cite, professionally. You need to refer professionally or in a professional manner. So it's very important that you also undertake this session that will help you to know how to do academic referencing and citing. There are several citation styles. your professor, if you're a student, will tell you, for example, Makerere University recommends MBA. But I don't know what the vets recommend, you know. Different, schools and faculties will prefer different citation styles or referencing styles. So we will take you through the different referencing styles and also introduce to you the reference management software like EndNote, Bentley, Zotero, and many others. Okay? So if you're a lecturer, you're a professor, and your students are struggling in this area, send them over. They can be helped in the library. When you use other people's work, you have to use it ethically and legally. Don't plagiarize. So there's another session which takes you through how to use the anti-plagiarism software. Anti-plagiarism software. And especially for postgraduate students, after, and even staff, academic staff, when you submit your papers for promotion, they're subjected to anti-plagiarism software. Just about a month ago, our whole vice chancellor, in Uganda we call them vice chancellors, in America they are called presidents. How many of you have desired to study at Harvard? Okay, you hear about Harvard as a top university. So the top person of Harvard University was forced to resign, okay, over plagiarism. And you can do it and get away with it for a few years. This is something she did a few years ago. But this thing has caught up with her when she's at the top. Being the president of the top university in the world. And it brought her down. Plagiarism can cost you your degree. You may graduate and you go away and they recall your degree if they find that you plagiarized someone's work for your dissertation, for your research project and so on. You can lose your title, your academic title as professor. So, to avoid that, there are tools to use. You need to be taught in how to do professional referencing and citation and quotations and the anti-plagiarism software. Don't wait until the very end. The software is available and we can take you through it. Copyrights and intellectual property rights is very important. It's also very important in terms of creation of information, okay, and protecting it. When you finish your degree or when in the course of your research, there are innovations you come up with, all right? There are new models or new knowledge or new things that you will need probably to patent, okay? So, intellectual property, how many of you know Dr. Ogwa? Covab, all right? You remember the battle he had between him and Makerere University? Okay, it was about intellectual property because that is his innovation. Covab is his innovation. Here the university wanted to take, his intellectual property. So there was a battle there. So intellectual property is one of the things we will teach you. How do you protect your research outputs? All right. The other thing we provide is information support for successful academic publishing and research, impact. Okay, this is especially for researchers who would like to publish or who are in the process of publishing. Even students, when you finish, especially for PhD, it's a requirement for you to publish at least 2 papers before you graduate. Okay, but it's important that you publish in the right forum or in the right publishing avenue. Just a moment. I've experienced academic staff, colleagues who are published in predatory journals. You get your hand-earned work, and you did a lot of work, good work, but you give it away to an incredible journal, a predatory journal. for free, and they take it, you would have lost that effort of the work you did. You know, because even the appointments board will not allow you to what? To be promoted with such papers that have been published in predatory journals. Even as academic staff, as you seek to collaborate with others, internationally, globally, you know, with your peers, they always check out your profile, if you didn't know. When you write to a professor in University of Bergen or whichever university that you're collaborating with, they always do a background check. They check your online profile. They check where you publish. They check, you know, they check you out, see what quality of researcher you are before they say yes to a collaboration. So it's important as an academic, you know, to publish in the right place. Okay? Maybe just as an example, it's not a predatory, but there's also what they call predatory universities. There are so many mushrooming universities which are not recognized. Okay? Not so long ago, someone very important in this country, you know, lost their job because of that. Resigned. You know? They gave away their dissertation, their PhD dissertation to a what? To a fake university. At least one which is not recognized by the government of Uganda. So these things of academic integrity are very, very important. Alright? So we will teach you to avoid predatory publishers, discovering who they are, selecting a suitable journal or publisher. You have lost citation or visibility of your publications. How many of you have heard about citations? Especially the professors here, you know. Whether we like it or not, academic maturity, as far as your peers are concerned, globally, is measured against how people are citing your work. What is the impact of your work in your field? So one of the sessions we take you through is how do you improve the chances of your research work to be cited. Okay? Because it's your responsibility. When you publish with the journal, that's all. The journal is not responsible for ensuring that your work becomes visible. Alright? Or the publisher is not responsible. It's your work, you retain the copyright and intellectual property, so it's very important that you are taken through. So how to increase your visibility, you know, we'll take you through tools on how to increase the visibility of your work and discoverability of your publications. There's what they call parallel publishing in that area, and then repositories and self-archiving. Now there is a policy that was passed recently by Makerere University Council that requires academic staff and students to self-archive their dissertations and publications with an institutional repository. Okay? So one of the sessions will aim or aims at helping you in how to do self-archiving. How do you put a copy of your dissertation, electronic copy, you know, in the institutional repository, or a copy of your papers or conference papers or publications or books and book chapters, okay, in the Makerere University institutional repository. Now this emerged out of a question. One of the biggest two questions. One, Makerere has just made 100 years, right? Right?
Yes.
Can we find a database, one place where you can find all the publications and all the dissertations, okay, of 100 years? That was the question we had. And as a unit responsible for that, we pushed for this policy. So that the next 100 years, we leave legacy. Okay? We leave legacy, they will know that people were here 100 years ago. Okay? This is what they left. All the papers, all the dissertations are in this place. You can find them. You remember, during elections, they challenged our president to prove that he graduated. You remember, at the University of Dar es Salaam. And they had to make University of Dar es Salaam right, you know. But this institutional repository is one online database. Your degree and your dissertation is here. Alright? So the second question we had to answer with this policy was accountability for the taxpayer. We are here because the taxpayers of the Republic of Uganda, they make it possible for us to be here. Alright? So it's important that they know what is going on. They say that here people are doing a lot of research, innovations, what? But where is it? We can't see it. They say they are doing a lot, but there's not much we can want. We can see. So the institutional repository is that database where we can account to the public of Uganda that this is the research that is going on. These are the research outputs, and this is what is going on. So we'll take you through how to submit your dissertations, your papers, your publications in the institutional repository in keeping with that policy, so that you're not found wanting. Okay, just a few slides, 2 more slides. We'll take you through social media for academia. How many of you have LinkedIn accounts? LinkedIn, okay, ResearchGate, academia.edu, okay? All those are tools where you can make your profile visible. What about Google Scholar? You have a Google Scholar account, all right? So there's a lot of research going on in Makerere, but it's not visible. And like I said, our collaborators are always looking forward to search your online profile to see what is your research output like. So in Google Scholar and other social media will help you to create profiles so that you become visible as an academic. Okay, now I've been mentioning the above things. There's what they call bibliometrics and altmetrics. So bibliometrics is where we measure the impact of the citation or your research productivity. And then altmetrics measures how there are tools that we can use to measure mentions, media mentions of your research work. Okay? There are many discussions that go on in this country about different topics. For example, tick-borne disease. Let me use that as an example. If something is going on and as a scholar, that is your area, can you make mention of the work you're doing in that area on a Twitter handle, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on many other places, many spaces. So we'll show you that social media can be used to create impact, to measure, okay, how much your work is being mentioned in the media. That's also another session we'll take you through. And, some of you are writing. This presentation will be made available to you, so don't worry. This is my last or second last slide. How many of you have ever presented or sleeping? You try to present and people are sleeping. Okay? You have very good points, you're putting forward, but people are dozing. Others, they go on WhatsApp. They leave alone your presentation and they go near what? WhatsApp. It means you are what? Boring them. So it's very important, all right? It's very important that we show you, we train you on how to create effective presentations. Many of you go to present at conferences. If you're undergrad, maybe you may not understand this. But especially when you go to postgraduate, okay, you begin to present your research work to audiences internally, in the department, in the school, in the college, and also internationally. You go to a conference, you want to make an impression. Some people at conferences, they've met future collaborators, picked interest in your research work, professors abroad. But if your presentation is boring, they will call it PowerPoint. But for you create what they call power sentence, or power paragraph. People will not understand what you're communicating. All right? So this session helps you to go through, creating effective presentations using PowerPoint or posters using PowerPoint and Canva and other tools. Thank you for your attention. I don't know if you have any questions.
Everyone. Just like my colleague has said, I'm Patrick Sechkome, and I'm the reference librarian. What I do is to link you with the right information wherever you need it. and I sit at the main library. So today we are going to go through what we call the searching strategies. And I'm sure, just like Andrew said, there are millions and millions of information in the internet, but it depends on how best and the techniques you apply to get the most relevant information. So, okay, there are two categories of searches that we always do. In most cases, we can do this knowingly or unknowingly. The first category of search is what we call a known item search. A known item search is when you go to these information sources to locate for information where you have sufficient information. For example, your supervisor or lecturer gives you the course outline. On that course outline, there is list of books, not so. So when you go to search for that information, it's very easy. Because you know who the author is, you know the title, so you can easily locate the information you need. And the other category is what we call the subject search. With the subject search, this is when you go to do a search where you don't know any details about what you're looking for. You have been assigned a research topic, or you have been given an assignment, but you don't know any author who has ever written about that particular topic, or you don't know any book that has ever been written about that particular assignment you're talking about. So that one is what we call a subject search. You don't have any details of what you're looking for, but you have a subject in perspective that you're interested in. So, I remember when I was still undergraduate, wherever they could give me an assignment, I would type exactly the question how it is, so that I get direct answers. Not so. I know most of us do such a thing up to now. You go to Google, they tell you what affects foot and mouth disease in the districts where it's first, so you just go and type that. So what you should know is, with our databases, which I'm going to show you some of them, each word you put is treated as a keyword. Actually, it's not only in our databases, even at Google. Wherever you go to Google, any word you put is treated as a keyword, including the. If you type the, that one is a keyword to Google. That's why you get million results when actually the relevant ones are few. Because Google will identify any article that has the word the in it. And that's why sometimes you get million results. When you say in is also treated as a keyword if you enter it into the search string. So what we do, we use what we call the keywords. Wherever you have an assignment, you have your research you're doing. Start by identifying the key words from that topic or assignment, and then I will show you how you will combine those keywords. Our databases, which we paid for, do not work like the search engines. Google is a search engine. In that even when you write a wrong spelling, Google will ask you, did you mean this? Isn't it?
Yeah.
But with our databases, if you write a wrong spelling, you won't see a single result. They will tell you that what you have searched for does not have any results. So you will be disappointed and thinking that maybe we never paid for such databases when actually you have made an error. Or if you write a long statement, the database will try to retrieve the statement the way you have written it. And it's very rare that someone has written the same statement as you have put it. And in the process, it may not retrieve results, not so. So that's why it's vital that we identify the keywords, and that's what we search for. In order to limit the number of results, we use what we call the search options. Refined option. That option is always available in the databases. Even in Google Scholar for those who have ever used it. But I will demonstrate it further. For example, you can limit your search according to the nature of content. There are some supervisors or lecturers who prefer journals. Do you know why? Who can know the difference, or do we know the difference between a journal and a book? Anyone with an idea? When you talk about a journal and a book. So, in these databases, we have different categories of content. We have journals. Journals, those are publications which come out at a certain time interval. Like how you send newspaper. It's part of the journal articles, the magazines, those can be categorized as journals or periodicals. Then I think you know what books are. So there are even book chapters. So your supervisor or lecturer can tell you to concentrate on journals, simply because journals are so up to date. You can even find a journal which has been published yesterday or even today. So even when you go to the internet, if you are looking for books published in 2024, they could be fewer than the journal articles. So that's why some supervisors or lecturers prefer journal articles, because they cover current trends. So you can limit your search according to content type, and some going to concentrate on only journals or books. So you can also limit your search according to publication date. Just like Lydia said, some supervisors or lecturers don't prefer some literature which is older than maybe 5 years, 10 years, depending on the topic you are working on. So I remember when I was doing my research, when they told me that, I got so stranded and I didn't know what to do. Sometimes you may be forced to change the date yourself, which does not exist. So if you find a serious supervisor, they will go in the list of references and try to search for that book or article. If it's a wrong article, just know they will start doubting your work, not so. But these databases make it perfectly well that you can specify the date you are interested in. For example, if I see, you say, I want literature published in the last 5 years, we can customize that search, and that's what the system is going to retrieve for you, not all the literature. So we are going to say we can do that. You can also specify according to subjects. You know, different subjects treat different terms like different. For example, when I talk about Arsenal, what comes into your mind? Football, not so. But imagine I'm working maybe in the military and I want to do research in military science. If I talk about Arsenal military science, what does it mean? Sorry? A store of arms. You see what the difference is. So if I'm doing sports science and I search for Arsenal, they are going to give me articles related to football, not so. But then I'm someone doing military science, I'm not interested in football at all. So I can say I'm looking for Arsenal, but then among subjects I will say in relation to military science. You get the point? So that you get articles which are related to Arsenal, but in relation to military science. Then language, there are people who would prefer content written in French, so you can say all the articles I want them to appear in French. If it's English, yeah, you also specify that. And then geographical area. Like they gave an example of foot and mouth disease. There are some areas which are not affected, not so. So if you are talking about foot and mouth disease, you must specify the area of interest. Like in our home district in Covab, there is called quarantine. Those animals are not supposed to move because of foot and mouth disease. So if you are doing a study and then you say Kampala, it may not be so relevant. So you specify the area so that you get the most relevant literature. Just like I said, we identify the key terms or keywords, and then we use what we call the Boolean operators. Have you ever heard of those terms? Boolean operators. Those who are doing mathematics may have encountered them, but now we use them as a search strategy. There are 3 words, and one of them is and. You see this and here? So and is used to combine 2 or more keywords together. Do you have anyone here who has a topic or an assignment that you can use for the demonstration purposes? Any topic where you want us to find literature or an assignment? Any? I want to show you how we can combine them using the Boolean operator. Yes. Feeding principles of livestock. What do you think are the keywords from that statement?
Feeding.
Feeding principles of livestock. What are the keywords?
feeding,
feeding and livestock. Okay, that's one. Any other idea? When you encounter something to do with feeding principles of livestock, any keywords from that? So we have seen that we can identify feeding and livestock, not so. But if you say feeding principles in livestock, each word is going to be searched for different, including your E. But in actual sense, does it make a lot of sense? If you get literature related to E, can it answer your assignment? So when you put in, it may not make a lot of sense in that search. So you want to see how we can do the search. For this, I'm going to demonstrate it. So Lydia, your college librarian, is going to take you through, at a later stage, what we call MyLoft. MyLoft stands for My Library on Fingertips. It's a tool we use to access our resources remotely. Remotely means that you can access them when even you're at home, you're out of the country, wherever you are, you can still access our resources. So it will take some time, but she will share the guidelines after getting the WhatsApp numbers, I think. Or you can go to her, and then you create an account with MyLoft. You use your email address and your own password so that you don't forget it. Initially, we could give you a password, but we realized that you could easily forget them. So we decided that we change the system now. It's you who creates the password. So this is how MyLoft platform or interface looks like. And one of the databases you will constantly need is what we call Gesto. So I'm going to demonstrate it so that when you create an account, you'll be able to see an interface like this. It has even more databases. Okay. So, when you click on all databases, it will display all the databases the university subscribes to. They are arranged alphabetically from A to Z. But under here on your left-hand side, there is Covab. Are you seeing it? Yes. So when you click on Covab, we identified all databases which we feel are relevant to the Covab community. So those are the databases you can go, because you may not know exactly which databases to search in, because most of them are subject specific. So when you click on Covab, you'll be able to see a variety of databases. So we arranged it according to the college so that each college can benefit from these resources. And one of the databases we are going to use for demonstration is Gesto. So this is how the interface looks like. Please do not go ahead to register to log in. You log in once you create an account, and they will tell you somewhere, let me see here whether I can see it. Okay, there's somewhere it's covered here. Okay. Yeah. You see this? Access provided by Makerere University. So once this appears, you're not supposed to go ahead and log in. If you try to log in from here, then you will be creating your personal account where you will be needed to pay for these resources. When actually, if you just search here directly, using this access, you won't be made to pay. So we are going to use our example, feeding principles of livestock. And you said our keywords are feeding and livestock. And what you should note is, and should be in capital letters. And should be written in capital letters. This will be, if you write it in small letters, the system will think that it's also part of the keywords you have put. So you have to write it in capital letters. This is feeding. So this is while I do my search, feeding and livestock with my hand in capital letters. I come and I search. And by the way, this Boolean operators applies to all databases. Even though you are doing your personal search anyway, make use of these Boolean operators. They help to limit the searches and bring on the relevant literature. So as you could see, I have here the efficiency of feeding livestock. Is this relevant? Yes, it's relevant. And the beauty is there is a download option here. So in case you are interested in this article after seeing that yes, efficiency of feeding livestock, you can just come here, click on download. We have a tendency of accepting terms even without knowing what they say. But I will repeat the same. I won't be any difference. So, I will download, and here you have it. You see this? You can read it anytime. If you need to save it on your desktop, you just come and right-click inside here and say Save As, so that you can have it anywhere. If you have a folder about feeding livestock, you save it there, so that you can read it at a later stage. Are we together then? Yeah. Not on the desktop. Now, after we introduce them to. So, that is how we use Boolean operator. Any questions about Boolean operators? Yes.
What about the use of commas? Like if I say dogs, comma, cats, does that make a difference? The comma, does it make a difference?
Yeah, actually, each letter, any character you enter in the database is given much consideration and emphasis. So what would be the importance of a comma? So if you say dogs, comma, cats, you have to know which Boolean operator am I going to apply. For example, if you want articles to retrieve diseases of the cats and dogs, you're going to say cats and dogs and diseases, other than quoting the commas. Is that okay? So we are trying to eliminate those characters which may not be useful in our searches. So we don't use commas in this case. Hey, there was another hand behind there. Yes, sir.
Whereby, for example, what is American English and then British English.
Oh.
Remember that the Boolean operator also.
Okay. So in that case, we use what we call the wildcard. Have you ever heard of that? Wildcard. How it works? For example, can you give me an example of that word which has two different spellings? Geology.
Etiology.
Etiology.
Yes.
So where is it in spelling or spelling?
Yeah.
This way I can write it.
A was A-E. A-E. A-E, yes.
It is A-E.
T-I.
T-I.
No, T-I-O. Etiology, yes.
Etiology, like that.
Then the other one starts with E without A.
Oh, so the other one starts with the E.
Yes.
So we use what we call the wildcard. What the word do, you put its mark is a question mark. You put a question mark in the place for that letter where the variation starts from. So for you, instead of writing A or E, you put a question mark, then you continue with other letters. You get that? So you mean you are telling the system that I don't know what you have used, but end of the word, but as long as these letters are part of it. I don't know which letter the author used, but this is the word. For example, one of them is behavior. Not so. There is a behavior where they put a U. No, that one may not work. The instances where they put a Z and S. Organization. Organization. So you write the word organization, but instead of writing a Z or a S, you just put a question mark in that space. So the system is going to retrieve all articles talking about organization with a Z and organization with S. How to get it? Yeah. The symbol for that is a question mark. And it's also common American versus British English. So if a word has such, utilization with a Z versus utilization with S. So instead of writing that letter, particular letter, you just put a question mark there. And the other one is also what we call a truncation. A truncation happens when you have a word which has several endings. For example, we talk about veterinary science, then there is veterinary medicine, there is veterinary doctors. So in case you want the system to retrieve all the words related to veterinary, so you're going to put a star where the variation starts. For example, another word could be technology. There's technology, technology is technological. You get that? So you don't know which word the author used in his or her article. So what you do, where the variation in that word starts, is there you put a star. When you put a star, it's called a asterisk. So let me see. So we have technology, not so. Then we also have technologies, not so. So instead of searching for those words differently, they're technological. So I just come and put, this is where the variation is. Instead of typing a Y or I, E, S or what, I'm just going to put this one. Are you able to see it? Yes. So what this means, any word with maybe it has different endings, but retrieve all the other letters, no matter how they are. So I'm going to come and do a search and see how it will be. So here I have my word technology. Technology, this is even French. So here I have my technologies in the text. So you see, I would have missed all those articles if I had specified the word technology. Those ones with technologies, technological, were going to be left out. So I use what I call truncation here, asterisk. It's called asterisk.
Asterisk.
Yeah, that's that, so that the system can retrieve for me other related words to the word I've typed. Are we together? Yeah, that's also searching technique. So another strategy is what we call the phrase search. What we call a phrase search, they are words, like 2 words or 3, but you want it to come as a single phrase. For example, what we call veterinary. I gave an example of veterinary medicine. You're doing a research, but you want the word veterinary medicine to come as a single word. You get it? We put them in double quotes. When you put them in double quotes, you are eliminating a silent and, which is between those 2 words. Because wherever you do a search, like I told you, the system automatically searches for each word individually. So if you have ever done even a Google search, you realize that at the end of each and every word, there is a plus being added, meaning that each word is treated as a keyword. So to eliminate that silent plus or and between those 2 words, we put them in double quotes. In other words, you're telling the system that wherever you find the word veterinary, medicine should follow it immediately. How to get it? Is that fine?
Yeah.
So like maybe people who are doing law, maybe you want to know the laws constitutional regarding animals. I thought I heard that even animals have particular laws governing them. So if you want to study the laws governing these animals, you can say constitutional law and maybe, is it illicit animal husbandry or animals and animal rights. So constitutional law should be put in double so that it comes out as a single word. And when you say animal rights, you also want the word animal rights to come as a single phrase. You can also put it in double quotes. Is that okay? Yeah, that's what we call phrase searching. And the last one is the use of these brackets. You know, we are training you to be very good researchers. So we don't want you at any one point to say that you couldn't find literature. We tell you all these techniques so that in case you fail here, you apply another technique. So brackets are used when we have so many synonyms. Are you together? Remember what do we use for synonyms? Which Boolean operator?
Or.
Or. Very good. So if you have like 3 synonyms, we are going to put those synonyms in brackets. Are we together? Then out of the bracket we put our and then the term you want to accompany that word. Can I demonstrate it? Yes. So I'll go to our gesto here. The problem is that I don't know so many words in veterinary medicine. If you could give me a word with at least 3 synonyms.
There's hospitals, clinics, and what?
Yeah. So veterinary, there could be clinics, hospitals, and what? Health centers. So, any word with at least 3 synonyms. Yes?
Antibiotic, antibacterial, antimicrobial.
Oh. And then what do you want to combine it with?
Are they synonyms?
They're not synonyms. Yeah, we are saying they're not synonyms. Resistance, then I want 3 words, but they mean the same thing. Like how you see youth, young adults, then teenagers. You get that? Teens, young adults, teenagers, they all mean the same thing. Actually, they mean, maybe they may use this for demonstration purposes, but at least you know how you use it, not so. So we want to say, there are so many youth who are involved in drug abuse these days. So drug abuse, and remember our hands should always be in capital letters. Then I'll put in brackets. Then I'll say youth. Or young adults. I don't know why they're called young adults. Already adults. So we have here drug abuse, and what this one means, if we don't put these brackets here, there could be a possibility that the system is going to retrieve literature related to youth, or teenagers, or young adults, but without our key term, which is drug abuse. You get the point? So there's that possibility. But then, if we put this one in the brackets, and then our key term, keyword here, it means that all articles are going to bear the word drug abuse, because it's our main word, not so. Then it will choose any of these terms here, or a combination of any of the terms here. Meaning drug abuse is going to be part of the results which are going to come, plus any of these ones which are in brackets. So you're saying I want drug abuse, then choose among these other terms I've given you to come along with it. Are we together? So if I just search here, so here there is youth and illegal drugs. So that means another keyword, you know, sometimes you get words from the results we get. Meaning another word for drug abuse would be illegal drugs. So it makes sense to say drug abuse or illegal drugs. So now, if I had not put youth here, I was going to miss this article if I'd used teenagers only. How to get? So I was going to miss out on the youth. So here we say adolescents. They are even bringing another term, which is adolescents. So when you put in brackets, the system will look for all the words you have put, then it comes with any of them that you have indicated in brackets, but the keyword has to be part of them. Yes, sir.
Thank you. If you put drug abuse in quotation,
Sorry?
if you put drug abuse.
Oh, in double quotes. Yeah. Very good. So it's saying, what happens if we put drug? I want us to know, when it was open, it had the 46,665 results. So we want to see. And who could tell me? Okay, let me first read the search. This is now drug abuse in quotes. And we search. This is 46. This is 17. Why do you think the results are reduced? If we compare with the previous one, they are 46 and then 17. When we put quotes, what? Yes, sir.
In the previous one, drug abuse giving us 2 keywords.
Has 2 keywords. Yes. Yes.
Then here we are treating it as a phrase.
Oh, thank you so much. So in the first one, we had drug abuse as 2 keywords. So you realize that if we had gone further, we could find articles talking about drugs alone. These are which are in pharmacies and so on. Drugs, then maybe there are people who, something like that, even want the drug alone without abuse. But here, this one means that all articles we are going to get here are going to be discussing drug abuse as a single or one keyword altogether. And that's why you have seen a reduction from 46,000 now to only 17. Because drug abuse is now treated as a single phrase. Is that fine? Yeah. Do you have any questions? But make sure you go to Lydia, or Lydia find the option sharing MyLoft guidance for registering with MyLoft. Because with MyLoft, yeah.
And show them how to sign on.
It's we have informed that it has there's something we are running. But maybe to show you, you have the question certified for it. Excuse me. Okay. So I want to show you, in most cases we go to our library website, but they told me that there's a script they are running. But here, let me first try to see. So what you do, without even waiting for guidelines from Lydia, you just go to Google and put MyLoft login. You see, MyLoft is my library on fingertips. We want you to move with your library wherever you go. Unlimited access. So we always go with this first option here. This one takes me directly to mine. Let me first sign out. I've used this laptop so many times, so it brings Makerere University automatically. But for your case, it's going to tell you to type the name of the institution. So you will type Makerere University, and then you will see it mostly comes. There is MOOCs and then Makerere University, but then we choose Makerere University, Uganda. Now, you shouldn't sign in from here. What you do, you come and say, sign up. You only sign in when you have already created an account. So you come here and say, sign up. So when you say sign up, this is what it will bring. Full name, email, and when you click on password, it will guide you on the password to create. For anyone who has a university email address, remember there are some restrictions in regard to the password. You must have a capital letter, small letter, special character, and a number. And it should be 8 characters. So that's what it should be. And the good thing, it guides you. Any word you put here, it will inform you that now this is okay. If it's, all these ones must turn green for you to be able to know that your password has been accepted. So after filling all these, you come and say, sign up. You click in this box here and say sign up. Sometimes this sign up is hidden and you see sign in. You shouldn't say sign in. So you should scroll down until when you say sign up. How to get? So when you sign up,
I just wanted some clarification on that email. Is it a must you have to put in email?
No, I was talking about the password. For email, you can use any. So after clicking on sign up, they will send a verification email to that email you have put, meaning that you have to put an email which is active and you can access it. So they will say verify your email. In that link they have sent you, you click on verify. However, you must use Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge. Mozilla was rejected, I don't know why. So it's Microsoft Edge and Chrome, wherever you're creating an account. If you use Mozilla, they won't verify your email. So you use Chrome and Microsoft Edge. So once you verify your email, we shall receive a notification on our admin end, and we shall be able to approve you. You can't proceed without our approval. Yeah. So after approving, when you're accessing it, when you go to sign in, they will ask you to add the extension. Who has ever used Google Scholar? No. You're here. If you have ever used Google Scholar, realize there are some articles which are to be paid for. But what they did, we integrated Google Scholar into MyLoft, so that you can search Google Scholar through MyLoft. And the beauty is, it can search across all the different databases. It will even indicate, let me show you briefly. I have 1 minute. Okay, MyLoft. Let me sign in very fast and log out. Going to another database, you can choose to say, and I don't show again, or I know. Then it automatically takes you to Google Scholar. You see this icon here? This is the icon for MyLoft. So whatever database that has this icon here, it shows that we have access to it via MyLoft. And in any case, if you come across any article which you have no access to it, you just send the details to Lydia, and Lydia will be able to request for it on your behalf. And you send it to you. We call that electronic document delivery service. We do that service. So you should never be stranded when you have. So sometimes when you type, there's these options which comes here. There's in Google Scholar and then in entire MyLoft, but always choose in Google Scholar. And that one happens if you don't want to search through MyLoft, or you don't know which database to search for. Is that okay? So I showed you that it searches across all databases. So this is where you see the database from. This is Springer, and if you go back to our list of databases, resources, all databases, if I go under S, Springer is here. You see that? But in the first place, you would have not known whether Springer has some content related to your work. But when you search through Google Scholar, it runs across all databases and can be able to inform you which database has most of the content you need. All together. Yeah. So you can also download MyLoft as an app, like how you download TikTok, WhatsApp on your phone. So you can also download it from Google Play Store and install it on your phone. So that in circumstances where you don't have your laptop, you can still use your phone to access the content. Out together. Yeah, thank you so much.